This morning, my guest did not make it, but she's with me on the phone. We're talking the intentional parent. Uh, I've been seeing her post on Facebook, and I just said, okay, I had to go and send a DM. I said, okay, because she's been an advocate of intentional parenting, and so she is a seasoned parent coach and an author of parenting bestsellers, Connect to Correct, Walking Your Child Through Puberty, The Discipline That Works, and From Yelling to Calm, including 15 other parenting e-guides. Okay, so it's long, so we're going to quickly take two lines. Our work experiences include years in international NGOs with over 10 years of experience in USAID leading projects. She also has the experience in the banking sector. She has represented Africa at the Facebook Global Parenting Panel at their headquarters in California, US. And our group, The Intentional Parents, with about 80,000 members, was recognized as one of the most relevant and engaging parenting groups in Africa in 2019. So I have with me on the phone Wendy Ologe. I hope I got your surname right. Don't crucify me, please. Good. Thank you. When we're going to pick up the topic, I just said we came up with topics, and I just said intentional parents, and I've forgotten that was your team. So it was not. It was just coincidence. I'm serious. I'm serious. I think I just saw that yesterday. I'm like, okay. So, welcome to Signals, and I miss having you here, but it's fine. We're talking intentional parents, and in the past, and last week Saturday, we had someone who takes special care of special needs children, and let's talk about parenting. And yes, I can see that from your response. It's hard parenting. We're in the 21st century where we don't know, we honestly don't know how to parent. So we're going back in time to go and copy our parents' parenting style, and it's not working. So this morning we're talking the intentional parent. And who is the intentional parent?
Oh, interesting. Thank you so much for having me.
It's all right.
And just in one line, the intentional parent is the parent who can think through their goals. Now, we say that the difference between the intentional parent and the non-intentional parent is that the intentional parent has a goal. The unintentional parent doesn't have a goal. So that's the major difference.
Okay. Now, what is parent coaching about? Because it's new. Educate us this morning. I have 20 questions for you, so be ready.
Interesting. Okay, so parent coaching is about taking parents through the process of understanding what is required to raise a child. Now, many of the times people have said that, okay, we just became parents. It's just okay because we have learned it from the people before us. Now, unfortunately, either way, times are changing, things are taking a new turn, and many parents are not learning what is happening with time. So parent coaching is about helping parents see through the times, provide them tools and strategies. We usually say that all the parents have good intentions. But unfortunately, good intentions are not enough. You can love your child and still destroy your child because of lack of tools and knowledge. So parent coaching is about providing you with tools, skills, knowledge to actually be able to raise a child who can thrive.
Okay, so we're talking the 20, we're having a lot of Gen Zs, and a lot, some call them pandemic babies. People don't know, we don't understand the language to speak with this new generation of children. And tell me more about that.
The major problem is that we are refused to understand the times.
Why do you say that?
I'm going to quote a part. It's not even just now. I'm going to quote a part in the scriptures. I'm a Christian. And he says that the people, the sons of Issachar, understood the times. Now, he meant that there were people when David was supposed to actually ascend the throne and there was a gap. Many of them were trying to go to war fight, but the Bible recorded that the sons of Issachar understood the time, so they were able to actually change the tides. Now, one of the major problems we're having is that we do not understand the times that we are in. The Gen Zers do not operate like the millennials, neither do they operate like the baby boomers that we had in the past. Now, the millennials are the ones having the Gen Zers. The Gen Zers are, for instance, the Gen Zers are looking for access. They are not looking for accumulations. The millennials understood that accumulations are not access. So in your parenting, you must be able to recognize that. You must be able to recognize the difference between the Gen Zer and you and your growing up time and all of that. So if we look at the times, we will recognize that the internet changed the game. Many vices, many things, that have happened in our times weren't there, when we were growing up. Now, even while they were there in trickles, right?
Yes.
Now there's access. One of the things that the Gen Zers have is access, and we must recognize that access is everything. So they have access to anything you can think of. So that is actually one of the things that have changed, the narrative of parenting these children. So we must come from a place of wanting to learn.
So the parents have to learn.
Yes, I say that parenting is a learned skill. It's not a zero. Why do we think we need to go and learn, how to become? Parenting is an active word. It's not a now. It's an active word. It's a doing word. So if it's a doing word, you need to learn how to do. And until you learn how to do, then you continue to just, fumble and just do the things that just, around all of the things that you know. What you know isn't enough anymore. Native knowledge is not enough to raise a Gen Zer. You must be able to hold yourself to the point where you want to actually learn. Knowledge is a key thing in raising a child in the 21st century. Okay,
now the question is, why did you decide to go into parent coaching, and what has been your experience so far?
So interestingly, I love politics a lot.
Nice.
And outside of if you're in my circle, you understand how I'm able to navigate politics. I love politics. I love discussing politics. I played politics in university. I have always loved politics.
A luta continua. Well done.
Right?
Yeah.
I love leadership. And I when I started having the nudge for leadership, in society and all of that, I saw that the playing ground isn't working because of the kind of people we have raised. Now, I realized that for us to actually do leadership better, then we need to raise better people. There is no other conversation. So we are sitting back to say, oh, politicians are this, the leaders are this. I have often said that the society is a product of the family, not the other way around. We are the ones that have produced what we see as society. And if that is the case, can we go back to the drawing board to produce better people for the society? So that's why I do what I do. My aim is in the next 10, 20 years that we'll have better people that will actually arise to actually do things better in our society. And my experience so far in the past 3 years, we've done this for about 4 years, started the academy about 4 years ago. But in the past 2-3 years after the pandemic struck, it was a game changer for parents to realize that there's a shift and there's something we need to begin to do differently. Currently, we're in Lagos for a summit happening tomorrow, and we have over almost 1,000 parents who are going to be at that summit. It wasn't so before now, and hey, here we are. We're making progress.
Okay then. Why do you think the parents want to learn more about their children? Why do you think that? Because again, anybody can become a mother, anybody can become a father, but the process to parenting is hard. So what do you think people are testing for to make a difference?
Everybody wants to raise someone better than they have become. I don't think anybody wakes up to look at the children and say, I do not have good intentions. Every parent has good intentions. Now, like I said earlier, intentions are not enough. So when parents do it, they begin to do it, they begin to struggle, they begin to find out that there could be more that I do not know. Then they begin to seek help. Now, when it comes to parenting, so many parents have believed that, oh, once I become a mother, I will just be a good parent. No, being a biological, mother, father, doesn't necessarily mean that you know how to parent. That's why I said that parenting is a learned skill. Parenting isn't assumed. Like I shared in my book, Connect to Correct, I wrote about the assumption parenting, which is what we've been practicing and which is one of the narratives that we've been able, or we're trying to recreate in Nigeria and Africa and the world at large. So we're trying to move away from the place where we have assumed the things we thought we knew but we didn't know in the real sense of it, to becoming intentional about the things we don't know. So to being able to actually implement the things that we are learning as we're going. But there has to be a learning. There has to be an unlearning and then a relearning, and then we keep learning.
Thank you for that. Now, in the modern world of parenting, it's difficult to navigate the waters of raising children in a manner that's best for them. Why do you think this is so?
Because there are a lot of things that is battling for the attention of the child in the 21st century. So if you just sit, I usually say that hope is not a strategy in parenting. I also say that God forbid is never a strategy in parenting. Now, if you sit back and all you do is just hope that this is going to happen, unfortunately, every other thing asking for the attention of the child is in hope. They are strategically building a system that creates and grabs attention. The 21st century is about who gets the attention of who most. And if you do not recognize that, so even you as a parent would not be able to actually parent a child the way they should go. Right? And many of the times we think that it's about us. Unfortunately, it's actually not about us. It's about the child and who they become. So many of the times in parenting, we want to create people who are like us in oath. But many of the times, it's about the child and what they become. And parenting is not really about the child because you are the parent. Parenting is first about you. It's actually the things that you are able to redo, that you are able to actually give. You can't give what you do not have. I say that a child is limited to the level of knowledge that his or her parent has. So there is a parenting advantage to children anytime in the world. Goldman calls it the 10,000 rule, or calls it the Matthew effect. The Matthew effect: to whom much is given, much is more given. To whom that does not have more is collected from them. There's a Matthew effect. The more you do, the more you see, and the more you are building a system that raises your child. Now, it is that thing that we are seeking for parents to continually, seek and continually actually help their children. Raising a child that thrives is not, there's a template, like I always say, to raising kings. There's a template to raising outliers. It's not just anything. There are things to do.
Now, for someone, and thank you for all of your responses. For someone listening, and one thing is going through their head: my parents are living their lives through me. How do I disconnect?
For young people,
yes.
For young people who are in that position, I would one of the things I would suggest for young people is to start to find themselves and start to look at how they can, pass the message to their parents that they want to be them, not be their parents. It
Wendy,
might be a difficult water to
Nigerian parents, so
it might be a difficult water to navigate, but I tell you, if you want to really find yourself, even in the times where we are coming from, I was born in the 80s, I was still able to do this. So if you really, really want to push through, you will. Not in a way where you want to go and fight, but in a way where you actually understand who you are and you are able to actually pass the message properly. It takes a lot of training, though. It's not something you hear on radio. No, it's not.
Okay, so for the benefit of people, for benefits of parents. There's this constant argument that we're in the present time where it's almost as if the Gen Z's teenagers are losing the common moral value systems that our parents know. And it's almost like we're blaming each other. We should be blamed for this. And parents are saying that their children are not listening to them. Children are saying you're not listening. Everyone is quoting scriptures to each other. How then can we strike a balance?
Now, the problem is parents have not even recognized their position, and they also do not recognize what it is that they need to do. Now, a lot of the times in the academy, we teach about raising children who are independent and who can thrive. Now, we want to raise our children to have the morals that we have, but yet we want to control their lives at the same time. Now, one of the things that I have seen with this generation of parents is the gap knowledge. Because these children are not responding the way we responded. We were giving instructions. These children are not ready to just take instructions hook, line, and sinker. So they want you to tell them why the instructions are the way they are. And if you would need to tell me why, then I would need to understand it and have conversations. Remember what I said to you, that the Gen Zers are more interested in access than they're interested in accumulation. So they want access. They want to be able to, that thing that, the God says in the Bible, say, come and reason with me. That's the concept of the Gen Z. They want to be able to reason with you. They don't want you to dish out instructions and just say, oh, that is how it is. But unfortunately, that's also not how it is. Now, I'm also going to say that the infallibility narrative in parenting is a false narrative. The narrative that seeks to say that parents are perfect. The narrative that seeks to say that everything a parent does is right. That's not true. You can actually be wrong as a parent. So what I say is, do we really want our children to be or to do? We want our children to be morally upright, right?
Yes, please.
Not just obey us. Your child can be obeying you and yet be morally not upright. So it's not really about obedience when you look at it to us. Now, I usually say that authority is not force and control. Authority is respect and trust. If your child can't trust you, can't respect you, you have lost authority on that child. It's not force, it's not control. Authority is all about influence. How can we influence our children? Can they see us through us? A lot of our children don't want to be us because we are saying one thing and we're doing another. I usually say that the upbringing in the 80s, 90s actually brought up hypocrites. That's why. You tell your child not to lie, yet you're on the phone trying to dress up, and a friend is calling you, and you say you're already driving.
You just shattered that table.
Yes, you come back and tell your child you need to be morally upright. Children are thinking big. And because there are a lot of things that are making them think unlike us in our times, they're not taking your thing anymore. They're not looking at the things that you're sharing. All the crap about you being perfect, they can already see that you're not. And yet to say, oh, the children of these days are not morally upright. No. Our upbringing gave us a hypocrisy that we are practicing that is rubbing off wrongly on our children today. And if you're not conscious of it, you will raise same series of hypocrites. Now, the children are not ready to be hypocrites. They're going to rebel. That's the danger in what it is that we're doing correct.
Okay. Just hold on a bit. The signals on 91.3 Lagos Talks. We're talking the intentional parent with Wendy Ologe. And if you have questions or comment, WhatsApp us 0809-234-5913. And you can call us 009-191-3913. Now, let's talk about rebelling, children rebelling, and a lot of parents, we find ourselves with children that rebel a lot and we don't know how to contain them and we don't know what to do. Help us out this morning.
If your child is rebelling, there's something wrong with the parenting template that you're putting out there. You need to learn. Actually, I say that parenting is not about tips and hacks. there is no one conversation that we're going to have here that's going to give you the magic wand to go and turn things up. So you need to commit yourself to the process and be held accountable to the process for you to actually have results. Results in parenting are not built as one-off. They are built precepts upon precepts. They are built with repetitions. Because for you to make an impression, you need to make repetitions. For you to make repetitions, you need to teach. The question is, are you really learning? Are you really teaching? Are you just screaming? There is a line today where I usually say that parents are waiting for their children to do the wrong things for them to jump at them. They're not waiting, they're not teaching them what to do. And the word discipline actually comes from the Latin word discipline, that means to teach. How many of us are really teaching?
I was about to even ask you, where should we draw the line between discipline and friendship?
Between discipline and friendship, there's no line, there's no comparison. There's no line to draw. There's nothing to compare. It's not even a mix. It's in our definition of discipline that is the problem. Discipline is not where you're shouting and screaming and jumping up and down. Discipline is structure. Now, I have a set of twins that are 11. And for the past 1 year since they started manning the kitchen at 10, I've come home to my home every evening with food on my table. That's discipline. That is discipline. I've not sat there with them since they learned how to study on their own since they were 8. So come and say, oh, you need to read for exams. Oh, you need to do this. And yet, they are A-list students in their school. That is discipline. So when you teach structure, you're actually teaching discipline. Which is one of the reasons I said in my book, The Discipline That Works, that discipline is not a child's problem, it's a parent's problem. If your child have issues with discipline, check it. You have issues with discipline, which means that you couldn't build structures. Now, talking about friendship, like I said, which is the difference. Friendship is not a relationship in parenting, it's a tool in parenting. So there's no comparison. There's no place where you're coming and say, oh, because I'm friends with you. No. It doesn't exist. So if you understand the definition of the thing, like they say that when the meaning of the thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. So we must be able to actually take things from that point and begin to work it. So if you have to take your cable or your smart card and leave the house because you do not want your children to watch TV, there's something wrong with what you have created.
So the question on the minds of a lot of parents listening to you this morning is, what then is structure? What then? Yes, I know it's a ball game that we're trying. It's a big ball game that we're trying to unravel this morning, and I know. But at least for the benefit of people who don't know, because a lot of parents do not know how to raise their children.
I just shared with you what structure is.
Let's say it again.
And I said to you, I gave you an example. But since I had my twins turn 10, then I have food on the table every evening when I get home. That's structure. Okay. And I said to you that the ability to study. Then now during the holidays, my children read 10 books. 3 of them were 400-page books. That's structure. So for you to build structure, it actually comes from lots and lots of places. You take your children to watch TV from morning to night. There's something wrong with it. Can't you see it? So structure is everything that we're doing. Now, interestingly, structure is not in the daily routine, it's in the foundation.
Okay.
Now, when I talk about structure, I talk about, for instance, a family value system is a structure. Not many parents actually have a family value system. Not many have families. The ones that say, oh, they know my value. No, they don't know. How many families actually have a documented, guide to lead their children to what is acceptable in their home and what is not acceptable? That's structure. So when I build structures like that, I don't need to keep screaming. I will build the structure. I'll teach them what the structure means. It becomes a habit that will turn it to a routine. That's what structure is. And structure, if I'm going to teach you structure, and I'm going to take the whole of the day.
Yes.
It's your structure.
Mm.
So it's a whole lot.
It's a lot. It's really a lot. Now, for some people who are listening, they have the challenge that, oh, our parents like to compare myself and my siblings. There's also an issue of comparison between children. And then they grow up, there's siblings rivalry, and they don't like each other. How do, okay, for people who are in that kind of situation, what should they do?
Sibling rivalry, again, is 90% a parent's problem. My latest book that is coming up on the 1st of December is called Resolving Sibling Rivalry. Growing up, I saw not just my family, my dad's family, right? And I saw the rivalry that exists in most Nigerian families. There's always that uncle you can't speak to. There's always that cousin you can't relate with. Because there's something that have happened between your father and their sibling. And I've dug deep to find out that most of these things didn't start the day we saw it. It started even before we were there. But parents did not nip it in the bud. We talked about comparison. We talked about, parents not being able to actually teach their children how to resolve conflicts on their own. Now, when I talk about sibling rivalry, it's not about, the things, whether the sibling will fight or not, they will. It's about teaching the siblings what to do when they disagree. Do they have tools to be able to resolve these issues on their own without you playing judge at every point in time? It is a gap in the parenting that we're practicing today. And that's one of the reasons that when we see gaps, we bring solutions and we're able to create tools that help parents actually navigate it.
Okay, then. Now, what's your vision and goal for parent coaching? And when do you intend to achieve it? What's your vision? When you look at parenting, intentional parenting, what's your vision for the intentional parenting? Share with us.
The vision is to make sure that the Nigerian child is raised to thrive. That's the vision. We do not have a lot of people who are thriving. We have a lot of people who are surviving. We don't have a lot of people who are living. We're having our children, we're raising our children to just survive. We don't have a lot of children who are thinking because we do not understand the concept of thinking. We were not raised to think. And because we're not raised to think, we can't create. And until we raise people who can think, then we can't be a nation of creators who will continue to consume. So the vision is to have a Nigeria of people who can think, who can create, who can become.
Who can think, who can create, who can become, who can thrive. All of these words are very heavy. And is this achievable?
100% so. If work is put in. Remember I said, that parents is not about tips and hacks. There's no one radio program or conference you listen to that solves the problem. You need to commit yourself to the process of intentionally parenting your children, thinking through your process per time. That's what makes the difference.
So for a parent who is saying I'm very busy, because again that's a regular excuse for a lot of people, for a lot of parents, that we don't have time and all of that, and at least I was raised right. There's this battle between parents now that, okay, yes, we were raised right and we turned out well. I see this, I read this, and I'm wondering, did you really turn out well?
Did you really turn out well? Yeah. That's the question. You turned out well, yet you can't create nothing. You turned out well, yet you're so hypocritical. You can't even say things the way they are. You turn out well, yet you can't say no when you need to say no. You turn out well, yet you know something, but you cannot be bold enough to come out and say, because the way you were raised has stripped you of everything called self-esteem in you. You can't even live for you. You turned out well, yet you're so aggressive. You go out on the street, and people are so aggressive that they're so attacking, and yet you turned out well. So the concept of turning out well is a concept that we have used to actually blind ourselves to the work that we need to do. You know the concept of nobody is perfect. That's an analogy that worries me. But yet, we have Christians and Muslims, a society of Christians and Muslims, who talks about the excellency of God. And who talks about how we are modeled after this God that is excellent. So why do we want to remain mediocres in the name of, oh, nobody's perfect? And when we talk about, oh, I am busy, I don't have time to parent. After all, the child that will turn right will turn right. Because that's where we are as a nation. Look around you. Does it look like we turned out well? Yes, everybody wants to tap out of Nigeria.
You had to go there.
Yet we turned out well. Why are we all running away? If this is such a perfect nation, raised with perfect people, and what are we going? Where are we going? Let's stay here then. Where do we want to go? So when we say we don't have time, the truth of the matter is that whether you have time now or later, you will do the time. Either way. It's either you do it now or you do it later. The time must be done.
Okay.
So the choice is yours to do it now or do it later, trying to solve the problem of your no time today. Because time is the currency of destiny. If you squash it, you can't help any child become. That's just it.
Okay, then just hold your thought a little. It's Intentional Parents with Wendy Ologe this morning on Signals 91.3. If you have questions, call us 0809. Network be nice. 0809 191 3913 or 0809 222 0913 or WhatsApp us. I can quickly take your WhatsApp messages this morning. 009 234 5913. Who's going to be our caller? Questions, comments, I'm waiting. 0151519113. Let's quickly talk about temperaments. I know it's again it's big, but we'll just touch on it a little. Talking about temperament, is it a thing for children to grow up with their parents' temperament? If you have a house where they're all screaming at each other, what's going to happen? So help me with that.
Actually, I think what you're saying is actually a bit different.
Okay.
Now, let me break it down. Temperament is actually who we are.
Okay.
How we are created and the things that we're built in. Now, lack of control of emotions is the screaming you're talking about.
Okay.
So it's not our temperament. So when people say, that's how I am, I need to scream. No, that's not how you are. You lack the ability to control your emotions, and it's a problem. That's one of the things that are really good. The inability to control our emotions, yet we turn out well.
Okay, just hold on a second. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Your name and where are you calling us from?
Good morning. My name is Emeka.
Okay.
Yes, I'm calling you. Right now, I'm calling from VI.
Okay, Emeka, questions or comment for our guest?
Okay, I just want to add to what she's saying.
Okay.
Just like our normal saying that it's easier said than done. What I'm saying so is, I heard when she was saying that we need to raise children that will create and to think and the rest of that.
Yes,
but
think, create, try.
We don't think about how can you think when you are hungry?
Okay.
One who is hungry, how can you think positively? How can you create?
Okay. So
it's easier because all this analogy and rest of is meant for elite who have everything surround them. Their children go to good school, they can sit and think and create whatever they want. But how about the majority of poor children from poor homes? How would they think?
Okay, then.
When they don't have a meal to eat.
Okay. Thank you so much, Emeka. Let me leave that.
Hello?
I can hear you. Emeka, let me leave that for her to be able to respond because I'm running out of time. Thank you so much for calling. Okay, Wendy.
So why do we want to continually look at the bottom now? There is no, even the American society that all of us want to run to, it is elite that created, that started and trickled it up. So when we give these excuses to the elite that we're talking about, that we say, oh, this is for the elite, where are they? Why are they not the ones creating? Why are they not even creating at all? So there has to be a saving. Shouldn't someone stand up and start the saving already? Why are we all sitting down and say, oh, this is not for the poor, this is not for the... What are we talking about? The private sector built these countries we're running to. That's what we're talking about. So we need to stand up and, begin to. Are we going to just all stay and just say, oh, well, the government has not given us food, the government has not, and then we just remain here? That's my question. For how long?
For how long?
For how long?
Dealing with the massive information available on the internet, how can parents manage the kind of information their kids, their teenagers, their youth consume and how they interpret it?
Parents need to first of all know what the information that is going around is. They need to school themselves. A lot of parents don't even know what is happening, what their children are doing online, and their children are just there, roaming about and all of that. There's no control. There's no checks because parents do not even understand. They've not learned. Parents have not learned what they're doing. A parent said to me that the son wakes up 2 a.m. in the night to come and build website. The son is 11, and I can't get it. I can't wrap my head around it. I was in a school yesterday, teaching the parents in the school right here in Lagos, and somebody actually said that. What are you saying? Is internet? Is it like so by 2 a.m. you can drop your child outside of Lagos to be roaming about? What are we talking about? So we need to actually begin to understand how the internet works. A lot of parents don't know how the internet works. They just say, oh, I don't know anything about this technology. You need to learn. If you're going to raise a child in today's world.
Okay, so I have a question from WhatsApp and it says, good morning, ladies. I'm not a parent. My question is, how can parents handle a child when caught in a sexual act between themselves? How can you teach parents to stop telling their kids that sexual act is a sin? Chinasa. Okay.
Okay, I didn't get that question. That sexual act is a sin. Now, this is about personal values, right?
Yes.
In one home that is, a Christian home believes that sex before marriage is not to be done. Another home feels that, sex is okay. It's a belief system, and which is why every home will need to actually structure what it is that works in their home. But remember, whatever it is that you're structuring, sex conversations are first non-verbal before they are even verbal. So it is a whole lot deeper than just coming and saying, how can you start telling parents that sex is not bad and all of that? Why is it medically? How do you want to even explain it? What child are we talking about? Why should a child that is 11 then what are you doing with the sex? Now, these are the conversations that you need to be had, in retrospect, in perspective, right? Not just you stop telling parents that their children cannot. That's not a complete, conversation, really.
Okay, 2 quick ones, but one quickly. When do we draw the line between religion and parenting?
Draw the line.
Yes.
Religion or spirituality. Now they're not the same thing.
Okay. Because
people, talk about religion. I believe in spirituality. Okay, so religion is the thing that ties you to a certain and all of that. However, I believe in spirituality. I believe in God. I believe in the God that has created a human being, and I believe that there must be a connection. You being a co-creator with God. That's what my Bible tells, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we have turned this whole thing around, and we have used religion instead of spirituality to actually go. It's a deeper conversation than what I would say.
I know.
So it's a whole lot. I would rather not tackle into it.
Yes. Well, I think anytime we're in Lagos, we'll do a part 2 about it. But finally, because our time is up, what's your final words of advice to parents, new parents, old parents? What's your advice to them?
One word: learn. You can't do this without learning.
Okay.
One word.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'll call you back after I wrap up this. Thank you so much for calling us and teaching us this morning. Okay, then our time is up. I don't know. I hope you've learned 1 or 2. Parenting is hard work. Parenting is really, really hard work. And again, there's no one size fits all. But to every parent out there, I know you guys are trying. I know. So I know you all are trying. But please, if it means that we have to take a while, step back, learn a thing or two, speak our children's language, because again, we want to be able to, I think there's this prayer that Yorubas, I think it's a general prayer that our children will be better than us. But how then do we do that when a lot of young people are being pressured? I leave this to you. Keep learning. We have social media. Be abreast of information. Be really, really abreast of a lot of information, because we are consuming a lot. The attention span of people of young people right now is like 6 to 7 seconds. It used to be 9 seconds, but I think it's 6 to 7 seconds. I think that was one movie that I watched, and I just made a silent prayer to myself, and I'll share that may my voice be louder in the ears of my children, because everyone is talking to them, they're listening to everybody. But however it is, like Wendy said, please let's go and learn. Let's go and learn. Till we come your way again next week Saturday, like we always say. Thank you, Emeka, for calling. Thank you, Chinasa. Thank you to everyone who has called and watched. Till we come your way again next week Saturday, like we always say on Signals, dream again, create opportunities for people. And because people will be people, please keep creating. Have a wonderful week and God bless. That's all. Thank you everybody who has watched. Thank you so much.